Hey folks, MasakoX here. It's time. The finale of the story of Jackie Chun being defeated by Goku at the 21st Budokai. Now you might think that wouldn't cause any harm, right, to the timeline? Well, you'd be wrong. In short, Goku would become an arrogant jerk, and Tenshinhan would end up being the apprentice for a potential guardian of Earth in the future. But right now, we are dealing with a very irate Majin Vegeta and the fusion of Goku and Tenshinhan. Tienku versus Vegeta is next in this finale. Anyone could feel a strong wave of energy as Tienku and Vegeta clashed. The prince's blood pumped as the challenger responded to his hits with near-perfect blocks and counters. Well, this was exciting. This might have been the challenge that he had been looking for. He didn't know why, though, that the Triclops and Kakarot had suddenly become one person. Finally, a worthy challenge. As Tienku grew 2 extra arms to be able to overpower Vegeta, he started to go for some massive ki blasts, but the enemy was faster.
Isn't it ironic? It will take the 2 of you to take me down.
The prince spat some blood after saying that, smiling. Stand down, Vegeta. This is your last chance.
And surrender like a coward? To return to that comfy, pathetic life I had? No, I know who I am, what we should be. If you wish to stop me, you will have to kill me.
You're not making this easier. They then clashed in the air again. Vegeta then tried to launch a powerful final flash at Tienku, but as the fused warrior activated his ki, the shockwaves just dissipated around him, scattered the blast into millions of pieces, much to the prince's shock and annoyance. He roared like a wild animal, charging up for another attack, but his enemy caught his fist easily and then proceeded to headbutt him. Then 3 other fists launched a flurry of blows toward Vegeta. He tried to go for his trusty Gallic gun in retaliation, but this was also negated. He couldn't lay a finger on the fusion. The prince then powered up to the limit of his capabilities at this time and started punching and shooting and kicking erratically. In short, doing what he does in desperation, the Daka Daka technique. But quickly, he started to realize the terrible truth. Tienku was holding back. But seeing how non-cooperative the prince was being, he slowly but surely started to expand his true power. It was quite clear to the fusion that they were winning and that they needed to nip this in the bud.
You're cheating. It took the 2 of you to overpower me!
The prince yelled, clenching his prosthetic fist. We're not here to beat you. We're here to stop you. Also, one piece of advice from one of us, sometimes it's not cheating. Sometimes you're just not good enough. Vegeta roared in fury at the cocky attitude from Tienku and charged at him, even managing to push the fused warrior back a little.
I am the Prince of all Saiyans! I am the natural-born warrior! I will not be overpowered by punch!
There's nothing you have to prove, Vegeta. Just some dark magic coursing through your veins. Let us help you!
If you won't give me my warrior's death.
The prince flew away and started to charge his final flash again.
I am going to dig up this monster! Finish me if you want. But that will be the end of what you have to suffer through. Punch!
Stop it! It's over!
No! No, no, no! I refuse! This is not over!
Vegeta tried another valiant effort to hurt Tienku, or to at least damage the ground around them to try and awaken Majin Buu, but the warrior simply deflected those attacks.
Well, then you leave me no choice. We will all go down together in one beautiful flash.
What? What are you doing?
The prince cackled insanely. I never had a chance to test this. I call it the final explosion. You forced my hand to abomination, and you will suffer the consequences. You and this abysmal planet.
Meanwhile, at the tournament grounds, people were starting to get worried. Bulma, Chi-Chi, and Yamcha had been informed by Piccolo and Krillin as to what was going on out there. The Namekian had been brought back to Earth by the likes of Kibito, needless to say. Vegeta's wife was the one to take it the hardest.
Don't worry, Bulma.
I'm sure that Tien and Goku will find a way to bring him back. I do hope so. To think he missed Trunks winning the junior division to give himself into some kind of madness. Speaking of, where is the little guy? Yamcha said. Oh, he's in the other room. Trunks, are you okay, sweetie? Bulma tried not to sound absolutely stressed, but there was no response. As they then ran into the room where they were, they discovered that the windows had been opened. The boy had disappeared. Where could he go? Bulma almost fell down in shock, with Chi-Chi helping her to stand back up again. Piccolo and Yamcha looked at each other. I think I have a pretty good guess as to where, said the Namekian. The bandit nodded in agreement. Don't worry, Bulma. We'll get him back. And so the two of them started a wild chase toward the kid. Time was of the essence, even if they hadn't realized this. Why? Why are you doing this, Vegeta? You said it yourself. You're not under anyone's control. You've had a good life here. Vegeta grinned. That wasn't a Saiyan's life. There was a time that I thought you, Kakarot, understood. I had seen the need to be challenged, and I took it. Tianku considered his next movements carefully. And we gave you that challenge. We were able to defeat you. That's enough. Then give it to me! End it! No! We're here to save you! I spit on your mercy. Soon, my life energy will be enough for one more final explosion. That should be enough to bring that creature forth. Tianku had to think quickly. He used his telekinesis to launch Vegeta into the air. If he were to detonate the prince high enough and prematurely, maybe that wouldn't awaken the creature, and the Earth would be safe. He managed to do the first part, calculating the trajectory of the shot. Yes, after all this, I will have my warrior's death. Vegeta closed his eyes in anticipation. As Tianku was preparing for an Ultra Doron Ray to do the job and silence Vegeta forever. Stop! Trunks, you have to move away. No, you move away. Leave my dad alone. Vegeta then became pale. Get out of here, Runt. That is an order. No, I'm not leaving you here, father. Do it, you stupid child. The prince looked panicked. No! Vegeta then tried his best to calm down. Trunks, please, this isn't safe. I'm not letting you get hurt anymore. Vegeta was still in Tianku's telekinetic grasp, but the fused warrior then let him go. What am I doing? The prince looked at his hands and then at Tianku. Get him out of here. The fused warrior nodded as he quickly grabbed the boy, who was protesting loudly and violently. No! Let me go! Dad! Dad! Vegeta let out a powerful wave of energy. Luckily for him, though, he hadn't fully charged the attack at that point. So after the initial ignition, he then fell down to the ground, barely alive, but breathing, just. Trunks managed to wrestle out of Tianku's grasp and positioned himself so he could catch his father. As Tianku approached him, the boy still seemed mistrustful, but the fused warrior exclaimed calmly, May I? I just want to heal him. And as Tianku used his Yardratian techniques on the prince, a lot of Vegeta's wounds suddenly started to recover, close up. His prosthetics were also completely melted, but he would live. The prince never fought anyone again after that day. And as the healing was done, much to their astonishment, Tien and Goku defused, but also with a newfound understanding and relief. As Yamcha and Piccolo arrived to witness the scene, the margin crisis was over. After the dust had settled, the Dragon Balls were used to remove Vegeta's margin symbol just in case. While the Kais were, understandably, insistent on the prince being punished further, Goku had stood up for the prince. Shin, though, wasn't really too happy about the fact that Vegeta could walk away from this scot-free, nearly endangering the universe. But the Saiyan was particularly threatening and convincing that day, so they decided to drop that. They also asked Porunga to hide Boo's sealed ball, so no one would ever find it. Not even the Dragon Tea would know where it was. Vegeta himself was still quite shell-shocked. It would take him days to recover meaningfully. Bulma was angry at him still, but she did help him get through this. This time, giving him different kinds of prosthetics that were more lifelike, indistinguishable from his original limbs, but they wouldn't be powered in the usual way. As Tien and Goku got the other, the Saiyan did one more thing for the Triclops. When he was talking to the Kais, the Elder Kai accidentally slipped something in, that he could unlock one's potential if they wanted to. and he offered this to the Saiyan. But instead of this, he decided to offer his three-eyed friend's candidature in place of his. He trusted Tenshinhan with this sort of power more. He knew that he would be leaving Earth in good hands though, as both Raditz and Nappa had decided to double down on their training and defend their new home. The prince decided to distance himself from all of that. While they were able to rebuild their camaraderie or even friendship with Vegeta, they would never push him to return though to fighting. They were that considerate. Instead, he decided to focus on his family and made up for the whole situation earlier. Goku had decided to return to space, with Yamcha offering to go with him, follow him by his side. But Kakarot urged him that the Earth needed him more. He needed to take this journey out into space on his own.
Where'd you go?
I may have some ideas, but take care of everyone, will you? Yamcha sighed.
Yeah, I will.
It ended up well for him, as he eventually asked Chi-Chi out, and the two became a power couple, with Yamcha, a former bandit and space mercenary, resuming his baseball career, making a lot of money too. The two of them used their influence for charity work, but also to create a new academy that taught the basics of ki control. Krillin and Piccolo mucked in with them as well, and Tien and Chaozu, they remained on the lookout, with the Triclops aiding Dende as the right hand of the Guardian. They were granted eternal life for their efforts, and the Elder Kai's ritual ended with unlocking the God Key within the former student of the Crane School. He then started to study further on his own. Trunks was also eventually sent to a public school, where he slowly started making friends, something which his father heavily encouraged. Not even a year after the Buu crisis, his sister Bulla was born, and she was everything for the young boy. And she meant everything to the young boy, as he had grown to be very protective. Goku spent one more year on Earth to close up his unfinished business, before heading out to space. At first, he officially apologized to everyone that he knew for the years of issues and turmoil and angst that he had caused them, and the whole alienation thing in the first place. They tried to convince him to stay, but he'd already made up his mind. Right before he left though, he made one important visit. The sea was particularly calm that day, as Master Roshi observed the lazy waves. He was sitting on his porch, relaxing, when a familiar figure appeared. Hey, Master Roshi.
Goku, my boy. It's so good to see you haven't forgotten about the old master.
I couldn't leave without saying goodbye. They sat there together for a while, looking at the sea. You know, I think I finally learned the lesson I failed to learn from you. There's always a place to grow. There's always somebody stronger than you. I can't believe it took me this long to realize that. The old man scratched his head.
Yeah, I guess I should have worded it better. I should have talked to you after that whole situation in the first place, but so much has happened, and before I knew it, we drifted apart. There was nothing I could do.
Goku looked at his feet. It's not your fault, Master. It's my fault. And if it means anything to you, I never wanted to drift apart from you. The old man chuckled.
I should have just kicked your butt better that one time in the tournament. Then all the problems would have been solved.
Yeah, I had a hard time believing it was you. Goku laughed.
That was a very good disguise, my boy. Hoodwinked everyone.
Roshi adjusted his glasses and then sighed.
So, where do you go now?
Away. Trying to learn some more stuff about my heritage, perhaps. Maybe there are still some people who remember. I love Earth, and it will always be my home, but I also feel that part of me wants to constantly move around, experience something new.
The old master nodded his head. I understand. Wherever you go, remember this. You're always welcome here, and I could use a roommate now that Krillin's moved out with his missus.
As they conversed some more, a certain monk ran out of the house, as if he were called out by the mention of his name.
Ah, trying to sneak away without saying goodbye to your old buddy, eh?
No, you were next on the list, Krillin.
You're making lists? Who are you and what have you done with the real Goku?
The Saiyan laughed and gave his old friend a big hug. Thanks for everything, my friend.
You will come and visit though, right?
Yeah, I will. Despite Goku thinking that it was going to be a quiet launch, everyone was there to bid farewell. He smiled at them and waved his 2 fingers before entering the pod. Goku, Kakarot, whatever came of this, he knew that he would be better. His destiny belonged to him. He took one last look at the crowd before the pod carried him away. Goku finally felt that he had come full circle, and whatever awaited him out there in the stars, he would approach it with hope and joy. There might be people stronger than him out there, there might not be, and for the first time in a very long time, this excited him. in a different place at a different time. Someone was looking at the dossier of an individual whom they dubbed EWI-31, Mercenary Goku. They were going through his files with a certain fascination. He might be a good candidate. Not overly tied, a loose direction in life. It might be what we're looking for, said the female voice excitedly.
Are you sure? He has proven to be a loose cannon in his timeline. And you know what happened the last time we trusted something like this with a loose cannon? Asked the male voice.
The female figure shook her head. Listen, if we have to replace what he took from us, we need to look for alternatives, unconventional means, and unconventional individuals.
All right. But if he breaks loose, it'll be your problem. I'm not going to be the one who is going to explain myself to the boss.
Yeah, I'm adding him to the list. The female individual interrupted her comrade.
Still a pretty short list.
Give it time. If there's anything we have enough of, it's time.